anything in it.
I
But
don't even
then,
know if we're allowed to.
we are, yeah.
If it's
I'm
not
sure.
available, you can, if there's
Really?
not one available.
So the things they don't.
But I didn't try hard to get one.
Good morning, everyone.
So.
I don't
I
either.
did.
I like driving my own car.
Welcome to the Technical Coordinating Committee for the CRTPO. This is January 4th, 2024, and the time is 10:02. We will now begin our meeting, and we'll start with introductions around the table, and then we'll do introductions in the room to my left. Tracy Howe, pedestrian focus.
Heather Maloney, Town of Huntersville.
Rich Hoffman, Carlisle County.
Aaron Tucker, Town of Cornelius.
Marley Henning, bicycle focus area.
Eric Martin, Town of Mooresville.
Vaughn Hanson, Village Wesley Chapel.
Bjorn Hansen, Union County.
Xavier Balgas, City of Statesville.
Justin Russell, Town of Stallings.
Roger Castillo, Transportation Planning Division.
Alex Rotenberry, Integrated Mobility Division.
Andrew Ventresca, Town of Troutman.
Jeff Johnson, CRTPO.
Liz Babson, City of Charlotte.
Irene Ivy, public health focus area.
Ryan Horton, Katz, MTC Rep.
Lisa Stywinner, City of Monroe.
Neil Paniger in CDOT Division 12.
Gwen Cook, Greenway focus area.
James Kelly, Town of Waxhaw.
Andrew Golden, Town of Davidson.
Megan Green, Mecklenburg County Air Quality.
Catherine Mahoney, Charlotte Planning, Design and Development.
Sean Epperson, NCDOT.
Dana Stujenki, Town of Matthews.
Steve Fry, Town of Mint Hill.
Bob Cook, CRTPO.
Neil Burke, CRTPO. Dave Campbell, Charlotte DOT, like Program Manager. And you hear speech out of DOT.
Loretta Baron, Federal Highway Administration.
Warren Cook, Turnpike Authority.
Ryan Thomas, Public Health Area.
Get there.
In a way, CRTPO.
Leah Hamilton.
Brian Elgort, CRTPO.
Jennifer Stafford, CRTPO.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome. First item on our agenda is to adopt today's agenda. May I have a motion?
So move.
In a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That carries unanimously. Our next item is to adopt today's consent agenda. That includes the approval of the November 2nd, 2023 TCC minutes, the 2024-2033 TIP amendments, and the performance-based planning 2024 safety targets. May I have a motion for that action?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That also carries unanimously. Thank you. And now we'll move into our first and only item of business. Oh, two items of business, both elections. First is the election of officers. And I'm going to read the guidelines for how we're going to conduct the election of officers. And Travis is actually going to go to the front and step us through that process. The first business item on today's agenda, again, is the election of officers, the guidelines, and I'll provide those guidelines and procedures. And then we'll conduct elections for both the chair and the vice chair. The nominee with a majority of the vote wins the election. If no nominee wins a majority vote, a second round of voting will be conducted and all nominees will remain eligible for consideration. Before making a nomination for the chair and vice chair, state your name for the record. The secretary will ask all nominees if they consent for the nomination. And then the nominees will give their consent and the secretary will make until there are no other nominations. If only one nominee, then you will be reminded about the ability to dispense a vote and I will ask for any objections, or I'm sorry, Travis will ask for any objections and then declare the nominee elected. If there are several nominees, we'll conduct a roll call vote for each nomination. And after the vote, the secretary will announce the nominee that received the majority of votes. So Travis, with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. So first, we need to nominate. We need a nominee for chair. The nominee with majority vote will win. And we'll need a first and second motion required to open nominations. So before we can nominate a chair, we need to open nominations. So is somebody willing to provide a first and second motion to open the nominations?
Make a motion to open the nominations.
Thank you.
Sorry, that was so loud.
No problem.
I'll second that.
I'm sorry, who was the second? All right, with that, nominees are open for nominations. Before making a nomination for chair, please state your name for the record. So does anyone have a nomination for chair?
Andrew Ventresca. I'll make a motion for Liz Babson to remain the chair of the TCC.
Liz Babson, do you accept, sorry, do you consent to nomination for chair?
I consent. Thank you.
Okay. So Liz Babson has been nominated for the position of TCC chair. Are there any additional nominations? All right, hearing none, nominations are now closed. We only have one nomination, so we have the ability to unanimously declare Liz the TCC chair. Do we have any rejections to that process? All right, well, congratulations then, Liz Chair. The leadership burden is yours again. Oh, wait. We needed a second. 1 second. All right. So nominee for vice chair, we need to open the floor for nominations. So for vice chair, so can I get a first and a second? Issuing a motion. Can I get a second? Second. Right, so now the floor is open to nominate a vice chair. Can I, or does anyone have a nomination for the vice chair position?
Erica Martin, I nominate Andrew Ventresca.
Andrew Ventresca, can I get your consent?
I consent.
All right, Andrew Ventresca has been nominated for. Once more with feeling. Andrew Ventresca has been nominated for the position of TCC vice chair. Are there any further nominations?
Do we need a
Oh,
second? for him?
Yeah, or
I'll second his nomination.
I'll second his nomination. Thank you. Do we have any further nominations for vice chair? All right, hearing none, nominations are now closed. Because we only have one nominee, we have the ability to dispense with the vote. Are there any objections to declaring Andrew Ventresca vice chair? All right, hearing none, congratulations to Andrew Ventresca, our vice chair. And that is it. And the meeting is yours again, Chairperson Babson.
All right, thank you. Now our second item of business, and just remind me, Travis, am I going to turn this over to you and you're going to do the same thing again?
Yes, but it'll be a much more formal, traditional process.
Okay. So I don't need to read through the guidelines.
No. So just call on me. I have a presentation.
Thank you. Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
All right. So our action today is to elect the bicycle, greenway, pedestrian and public health focus area representatives to serve on the TCC for the 2024 calendar year. Travis, I'll turn it over to you and then we'll take an action at the conclusion, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So actions requested to appoint focus area delegates and alternates for the 2024 calendar year. TCC focus areas represent bicycle, greenway, pedestrian, and public health. Focus areas serve as voting members of the TCC. They need to be appoint delegates and alternates for focus areas. Appointees must be employed by a municipality or county government that is a voting member of the CRTPO. And the term is for 1 calendar year, which begins in January. And there's no limit on the number of terms a representative may serve. 2023 focus area reps are displayed in front of you. These is for the project for 2024. The Bicycle Pedestrian Work Group met to review the existing 2023 delegates and ask for nominations for 2024. Changes to the 2023 focus area list is to designate David Campbell as the primary delegate for bicycle from CDOT. And then also to nominate Diane Thomas as the alternate for public health. But overall, the recommendation is to maintain the focus area reps in the existing focus area reps in the other positions. So those would be the two proposed changes for the 2024 calendar year. So with that, the action requested is again to appoint the focus area delegates and alternates for 2024 as presented in front of you, based upon the recommendation from the bicycle and pedestrian work group. So with that, does anyone have any questions about the proposed focus areas? Reps. All right, hearing none. I'll hand it back to you, Liz, to conduct a vote.
All right, thank you, Travis. Okay, may I have a motion to appoint the focus area delegates and alternates for 2024?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimously. Thank
Sorry,
you,
who is the
Travis.
second?
Irene,
I think we need a separate second.
I'll second.
because she's.
Okay,
on.
Brian, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Travis, now you see why I asked you to handle the elections this year. It's super clunky and I've done it too many years the other way. All right. So now we have two information reports. First, we're going to hear from Jennifer Stafford on a CRTPO discretionary funds project call recommended projects update.
Happy New Year. It's good to be back. So this fall, we had a call for projects, both existing and new. We opened the call the second week of August and closed at the end of October. So in the future, next month, we will ask you to recommend that the board approve funding for the projects from the 2023 fall call. This year, we had 62.4 million available, and 6.3 of that was carbon reduction funds, specifically for air quality. We received 33 applications, equaling 90.6 million. And again, the total amount we had was 62.4. So we received way more applications than we had funding available. And you can see the breakdown here for planning studies, less than $500,000, less than the 6.2 for carbon reduction. And then we had the highway, non-highway, existing and new projects. So the POC met a couple times to review scores. Here's the recommended list. They did not recommend all of the existing shortfalls to be funded at this time. You can see at the bottom, the new projects, Charlotte, Mooresville, Troutman, Wesley Chapel. The scores went out during the holiday season for some of us, and Waxaw has asked us to review their scores, which we are happy to do, and the Project Oversight Committee will meet next week. It'll be the same committee that met this fall to review their score. So I just wanted to let you know that that's out there. But as of right now, here's the recommended highway project list. And so there's a nice mix there. I think the POC worked quite hard. We met in person. And then we met remote to confirm everything. It was a pretty good conversation. All three of the carbon reduction program projects are being recommended. So there's a variety of projects here, from EV chargers, ITS, and then 2 battery electric buses. The bike ped projects, one existing. Actually, there's a typo there. The Hornet's Nest is existing too. So 2 existing projects with shortfalls equaling 2 million are recommended. And then the new projects under that, Mooresville, Huntersville, Charlotte, and Mint Hill. And then finally, the planning projects, all 3 of those applications again Our target amount is about 500,000, so this is under that amount. So just a summary of the short list or recommended projects. Again, we received 33 applications. The POC is recommending funding 25 of them, and I believe that's about a dozen members. So it's a nice mix throughout the CRTPO planning area. They are recommending using all 62.4%, and you can see the breakdown in highway, bike ped, air quality projects, and planning equal 100%. So with that, the next steps are to meet with the board and give them a presentation January 17th. Come back to you all on February 1st to get your recommendation for the CRTPO board approval. At that time, we'll give you any updates on Waxhaw scores if there's a change. Certainly, if there is any type of shortlist change, we'll reach out to you all on that. And then we are looking for board approval February 21st. So with that, are there any questions?
Go ahead.
The EV charging stations. The
Yeah.
question was, the EV charging station, are they going to be free for the user? Or are they going to have some kind of a nominal charge? And I don't think I've ever got a clear answer to that.
Yes, so we did reach out to Indian Trail and they had not decided yet whether or not they were charging. Is that the last you've heard, Paul? Yep. So that 163,000 for the couple of chargers, they just haven't decided if they're going to charge yet. A nominal fee.
The reason I bring that up is it doesn't, some kind of a nominal charge would be the right thing to do, because I don't think anybody, the general public, is getting fuel, whether it's EV or gasoline, anybody is getting it for free. And somebody is they're still road users in some form or the other. And then when it's completely free, they're not even paying for road maintenance or anything else. And that's all I have.
I will just add, Charlotte has a lot of experience with them, and when we install them on public property, we make them available for free. I'm not making an opinion about whether or not that's the right thing to do, but that's how we do it on public property.
Thank you. And our policy doesn't dictate one way or the other either. Well, thank you. If any other questions come up, feel free to email me.
Not
I
a
know.
question, but
Yes.
just a statement. Just wanted to thank CRTPO staff on behalf of Waxhaw, as well as members of the Project Oversight Committee, for taking some additional time to review the project scores.
You're welcome.
All right, any further questions before we move on to the next item? Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, Bob Cook is going to give us an update on the FY25 UPWP annual budget.
Good morning. Thank you, Liz. Just wanted to provide everyone with an update on where we stand with the development of the budget for next fiscal year. So we'll start with some updates from when we last reported to you at the November meeting, provide an overview of funding and where we stand in regard to that, get a little bit into the Section 5303 funds, and then talk about the local planning studies and the carryovers from previous fiscal years, and then lastly, wrap up with some next steps. So in terms of updates, when we did meet in November, we did not have final numbers for both our PL funds or Section 5303 funds. We do have that information now. We do have 1.3 million, as you see there, for PL funds. That is a reduction of $360,900 from the current fiscal year. And that's due to two reasons. One is that the pot really isn't getting any bigger in terms of PL money, but the urban area population in the state is increasing, so there's more pressure on that pot, if you will. And then another MPO was formed in North Carolina as a result of the 2020 census in Southern Pines, so they will be using PL dollars as well. So we do have substantially less available in PL next year, and I'll go next year, and I'll go into that and what we plan on doing about that in a moment. The news is a little bit better on the 5303 side, slight increase there, not a huge increase, but an increase just the same. So we have 1.2 million available in section 5303 money from FTA. And then we've also made a determination as to what our key initiatives will be as identified in the work program for next fiscal year. The 2055 MTP will be getting started on that this fiscal year, but we'll really be getting into it in FY25 with roadway project ranking, development of the fiscally constrained plan, the financial plan itself, et cetera. So it'll be a big focus of staff efforts and TCC efforts next year. Beyond 77 implementation will continue, of course. Safety will be a feature. We're hoping to submit another RAISE grant. And if we don't, if we're not successful in that, we're still going to be pursuing a safety plan as a part of the work program. So that'll be a big undertaking next year as well. And then lastly, complete streets. That is a significant focus of FHWA, USDOT in general. And I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So those are the four focus area or key initiatives that we've identified for the work program for next year. Just as a reminder, in terms of our funding sources, we have three that are listed there, the PL and the section 5303 that I mentioned, and then the STB GDA dollars that we also use to support our planning efforts. And a reminder about the local match. The match is shared by all the member jurisdictions for the PL funds and the DA dollars. However, if you're using money for a local planning project like the three Jennifer just mentioned, that jurisdiction, that government that is the sponsor of that project is responsible for the entirety of that match. And then the section 5303 match is provided by the user. So when CATS uses those dollars, CATS is responsible for that local match. It's not spread amongst all the member jurisdictions. This is our funding summary for the upcoming fiscal year. And I've already talked about this to a certain degree in terms of what's available. The only difference is you see that asterisk under STB GDA under the federal heading there. Traditionally, for the past 5-6 years, I think it's been now, we've drawn down $1.1 million in DA money to supplement our planning activities. So we're recommending that be increased to account for that reduction in PL funds. So taking that up to that $1.4 million figure you see there, that'll be our recommendation going forward to keep things similar to the current fiscal year. But those numbers are the other numbers for the PL and the 5303. Those are the ones I went over. The local match, by the way, one other quick thing about the section 5303 local match, that actually is, I put it there in this form just for simplicity, but that's actually divided between NCDOT and the local user. So it's handled a little bit differently. I'm just displaying it here for simplicity's sake. Any questions about the funding summary? In terms of 5303 allocations, we had a call for projects that wrapped up right after the November TCC meeting. Good news is we got a little bit more money, as I mentioned. Another piece of good news is that we're able to support all the requests that we received from the providers, as well as the Metrolina regional model and for CRTPO activities. So you can see what has been requested. That is the total amount that's been requested with local match. And we spend a fair amount of that money. The transit providers work group is getting underway now for TIP development. We'll be using it for our transit related activities associated with the MTP preparation, any sort of UPWP activities that are related to transit, regional transit planning activities. I'm a member of the Connect Beyond project management team, for example. And then all those administrative activities with managing the grants, that takes up a substantial amount of Tamika's time. And that's where a fair amount of our allocation goes. And then we're also going to be using about $66,000 for complete streets activities, which I'll go over in a moment, mainly because there is no local match required for those dollars. So that is a part of a requirement that came out of the IIJA when that was passed, because of 2-3 years ago now. And MPOs are required to use 2.5% of their PL funds for planning activities that this is straight out of the legislation that increase safe and accessible options for multiple travel modes for people of all ages and abilities. And that it doesn't say complete streets, but that's how that's largely interpreted. It's a complete streets type of activity. Our obligated amount for the next fiscal year is $44,300. So we will be using those funds for complete streets related activities. And then the FTA has recently come out with some guidance that indicates that if you use 5303 money for complete streets activities, there is no local match, as I alluded to earlier. So we are going to take advantage of that and use some of those dollars to support our complete streets activities and then supplement the PL funds that we're obligated to use. What we're leaning towards at this point, and Travis and I have talked about this several times, is developing a complete streets policy. We have a lot of complete streets related language in our MTP and some other documents, but we don't have a formal policy. For example, we always talk about how in the MTP, all those projects, the roadway projects, are assumed to be complete streets. They'll have sidewalks, they'll have bike lanes, etc., transit accommodations, but it's not written anywhere. And so this will take all these disparate policies, some that are just floating around in our heads, and putting them on paper. And so it'll be an adopted policy by the board sometime next fiscal year. So that's where we're leaning on using our PL dollars and 5303 dollars on this subject. Any question about that? It's a work in progress to a certain degree, but that's where we're leaning at this stage. Any questions about complete streets? Let the record show a thumbs up from Alex. Wanted to get now into some of Jennifer's territory and the discretionary grant program. She highlighted these 3 projects during her presentation. These were 3 planning projects that came through the fall call, the most recent fall call through the discretionary program. And they've not been finalized, as Jennifer mentioned, but we are assuming that they will be approved by the board in February. So going forward, we'll include these 3 projects, the TDM pilot program being sponsored by Centralina, the Metrolina Regional Model Teams Equity Project, and then Union County's critical intersection analysis. So we'll just be assuming that they'll all be approved. They always have been. I don't think we're going out on a limb by doing so. And then through the discretionary program in past years, we've had projects that are noted in the UPWP that are carrying over, or probably will have to carry over into FY25. So we'll be accounting for those. So there's still some work that needs to be done on some of these to make sure that they do indeed need to carry over. We're assuming they do at this stage, but they may not. And so some of these may fall out between now and the time we actually adopt the work program. One item to call out here is the Connect Beyond item. This uses 5303 funds. And we're still working with NCDOT's Integrated Mobility Division to determine whether or not those funds can actually be carried over. They're from FY23, and traditionally 5303 money can be carried over, but we're seeing if there's some possibility that can happen. And if so, then we'll account for the project in the work program next year. So those are FY23 projects. And then in FY24, we have these additional projects. Again, we have to work with the project sponsors to make sure that they do believe that they will have to carry over into 25. These are a bit more likely because they are more recent projects coming from fiscal year 24, but still want to make sure that we need to carry them over. There are a few remaining issues. We do need to assess how our expenditures have been over the first 2 quarters of the fiscal year. We don't have that information quite yet. The second quarter just ended a few days ago, but we hope to have that information by the end of the month, and therefore we can figure out, did we program way too much in one particular area, and maybe we can dial that back a little bit for FY25 or vice versa. So we'll be doing that. We do have to determine the exact carryover amounts, as I mentioned, and then we can start allocating dollars to individual task codes in the work program. That'll be happening throughout the rest of January. And then in terms of process, we'll be presenting the first draft to the board later on this month. We have a lot of new board members, so we'll have to spend a lot more time with them on this and what the UPWP is, et cetera. Then we'll also have at least one transportation staff meeting coming up in January, second one, third one, if folks feel it's necessary. And then we will submit a draft NCDOT at the end of the month. In February, we'll come back to you and to the board with second drafts, also a staff meeting if that's deemed to be necessary. And then finally in March, we'll come to you and request a recommendation to be presented to the board for adoption. Then we'll submit it to NCDOT and FTA, and that'll wrap up the FY25 EPWP process for the year. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Bob, with that shortfall with the PL that's looking to be supplanted by the DA, has there been a summary of what the opportunity cost is for $360 worth of staff work or carpo activities that wouldn't happen otherwise?
No, we haven't done that yet. And when we look at the first 2 quarters, when we get that information, if we find we are spending behind schedule, if you will, then maybe we don't have to take that path. I'm suspecting that could be a little risky because the second half of the year is likely to be, I guess, I'm not sure if dominated is quite the right word, but it will be heavily influenced by the MTP development. So while you might have some relatively low spending during the first 2 quarters, that's sure to accelerate rather substantially with the second 2 quarters and the MTP development. So I think we'll have to see what the first 2 quarters look like, but there is that possibility that it may not be necessary.
Yeah, I would just ask that be part of the decision-making process, and maybe is it possible that those are the last dollars that go out the door so that if they aren't spended, they flow back into the POC process for, capital projects and planning projects in the future.
Absolutely. No, good point. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Bob.
All right, thank you.
Okay, moving into our last section. As always, you have Division 10 and 12 project reports that were included in your agenda packets. No further updates from Sean or Anil. Roger with transportation planning, you have something for us?
So I don't have too big of an update, just want to encourage you, the NCDOT 2022 AEDT counts have been published and they are in the traffic surveys website. So if you just need to access them, you can just Google NCDOT traffic surveys and you should be able to see an interactive map, and you can also download the shapefiles if you need to. So that's pretty much all I have for my update though. And if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Alex, nothing from you today for integrated mobility. Warren, you have something for us?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and yes, and congratulations to you and Vice Chair Ventresca. Good to see. Well, good to see you again for another year. Just in case members of the TCC missed the press release or didn't see the coverage of it, the annual toll increase for the Monroe Expressway went into effect on January 1. Back when our board set the toll rates for Monroe Expressway, as it did with the Triangle Expressway before it, it set a annual increases of a couple of percentage points to kind of keep up with inflation and additional costs and all that was part of the issuance of bonds. So just don't want people to be surprised by that it does cost a few cents more now to travel on the Monroe Expressway, and it will do so at January 1 every year as long as we have debt. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Jennifer.
I'm like electric. Try not to talk too loud. So the PSC will meet next week, but what I wanted to say was we put out a email for Project Oversight Committee members asking for interest. And we've started some discussions. We were waiting to get through the board and vice chair elections.
And real estate forms by 8:15. So yeah, please let us know if you take down or if you have to adopt the board's data forms and detail. Additionally, next week for the CRGP board members, orientation for board members. So the board members bring them to the board if they attend this meeting. Here we go, Senator. I think this is for board members. So TCC members will be like watching the screen it. Expected you to show up in person. So if you receive any questions, please direct them to that. And if they're unable to attend that orientation, please let us know. Opportunity to share that information. And finally, as a reminder, over the holiday season, you received 2 emails on the Central Line survey. This is for the transit and land use training series, which we'll be hosting after the TCC meetings before. The deadline for completing this survey is Friday at 5 p.m. This is just to discuss topics we'd like to discuss during the training sessions and other questions. I have a copy of the link and a QR code so you can scan and fill that survey out if you have not already done so, so we really appreciate that. Receiving more information on the training series, in a couple of weeks. And again, these will be an opportunity for TCC members to get ASCP credits, and learn about, the combination of transit and land use. And there are 4 meetings and they'll tell about the conclusion. TCC meetings were 11:30, depending on. So same. So more information to follow. I have a survey link here for you to fill out if you've not completed that survey.
I assume that's just.
It's for all board. Yeah. So we're trying to get everyone on the same page and trying to encourage collaboration. So we'd like all the CRTPO board members to, if possible.
Even if they didn't.
All right, well, thank you, and thank you again for Andrew and myself and your support for us, for the leadership roles. And we couldn't do it without CRTPO staff, who we all know does work, but not only that staff, but the table that participate. So with that, we have completed items on the agenda.